This is KTN News.
Welcome back to Morning Express. It is now time for Tech Central, and we have an exhibit here in studio. Now, Kenya's road health is in crossroads. NTSA reports scores are dying on our roads daily, mainly on the back of dangerous driving and numerous motorbike accidents. NTSA statistics show that 140,000 bikes are registered annually in Kenya. 718 of the 3,000 road fatalities in Kenya also involve motorbikes. Well, keyboard designers in Holland studied Kenyan roads over 4 years and designed a revolutionary motorbike that is altering Africa's road safety status. The bikes are designed in Holland and are assembled in Kenya. And in studio now, I'm joined by the CEO of Kibo Bikes Kenya to explain the bike that could revolutionize Kenya's riding experience. And in studio with us, hi, but thank you so much for joining us. Your second name is too hard for me to pronounce.
Van de Grijspaarden.
Right. Many thanks for joining us.
Stick to Hyde. I think Hyde is a good place. It's a safe place to stay.
Sure.
Right. So this is a revolutionary technology, and we've had an influx of motorbikes in Kenya. Many of them are being blamed for the number of accidents in the country. Let's maybe begin with what Kibo Africa Limited is doing right now.
Well, what we did is we looked at the road conditions, we looked at the users on the roads, and we looked at all the accidents and the road safety. For us, we focus on mobility as a key driver for any economy. For that, it has to be safe. And for safety on the roads, you need a safe product. But it also relates to the rider, so we look at both. We do a good product that has safety features we can talk about. We also provide rider training to help them improve their road safety skills.
Now, after your study, when you studied, the Kenyan roads and came up with this bike, before we actually go to the bike, what is it that you found out were the weaknesses in our bikes, for example, and why there were such a big reason for accidents in Kenya?
I think when you focus on the bikes, most of the bikes that we see here in Kenya and in East Africa, actually all of Africa, they're very cheap products. They come from China, they come from India. They cost below 100,000 Kenyan shillings. And the quality is very poor. So they break down very easily. Also, the key safety features like brakes, tires, they wear very quickly. It's just dangerous.
Okay, so it's purely, well, that's one of the factors, of course, contributing. We do know that the rider is also a major contributing factor to safety.
Sure.
But in terms of percentage, what percentage would you place the actual product, the bike itself?
I think this is a very, very difficult question to answer with any level of certainty. What I can say about the level of the bikes and the way they're maintained in Kenya, it's very low, so it's a very high contribution,
right.
for sure.
So let's focus then on the technology that was applied on this bike. It's very big, it looks very heavy, and definitely very different from the boda-bodas that we see on the roads. So what is different about this?
Sure, it is very different. It is bigger, but maybe if I can, I stand on the
Absolutely.
other side of the bike for a second. It's also not that big. If I stand here, if you look at the height, it's not really that high. It is different. It's also not meant to really replace boda-boda, but it's different in the sense that we looked at safety first, which means that if you look at the frame, it's what we call an exoskeletal frame. It means that everything is on the inside. So everything that's vulnerable to the bike is protected by the frame. We have the bars here that protect the rider. Even the bars here and here means that if you fall over, as a rider, your legs will be inside the bars, you'll be protected.
Okay.
The dual headlight, it's a key feature. One is always, that's right here. So one is always on. If one fails, which happens sometimes, the bulbs, they blow. The other one will come on. So this is something that helps you assure that once you're on the roads, you'll never go without
You're
proper
well
lighting.
lit. Is one a spare of the other, or do they work simultaneously?
They can work simultaneously to give you more light. They can also work separately.
Okay.
And has this been tried and tested? Because I understand you've done this, or at least you've been studying several countries.
Yes. We're starting here in Kenya. We did the design in a user-centered process, which means that we worked with Kenyans that ride motorcycles for their professions to actually understand what it is that they need exactly to be able to go do what they do in their daily lives.
All right, so what more features does it have that the usual traditional motorbike would not?
If you are a person who carries passengers, for instance, these handlebars here provide a lot of grip and stability for a passenger, which also translates into safety. The front and rear brake, both their discs, which also contributes to the safety a lot. Tires with proper grip, but also made of a compound that is suited to both the on-road and the off-road, and they don't wear too quickly, which is very key.
Yeah, I noticed the tires are bigger in size, and also the tread is much higher compared to your usual bike.
Sure, sure. It helps you to go in the off-road conditions where you may have clay. It gets stuck inside the tires if you don't have the right type of tire.
Right, and of course, for any motorbike holder, the first question will be, what is the consumption of this bike?
The consumption is about a liter to 40 to 45 kilometers, which is low.
That's quite fairly low. I also see it's got a, well, interesting gizmo here, a digital thing.
Sure. The instrument panel has an analog speedometer, and then here this part is digital. One of the key things that I like a lot is this little indicator here. It's a shift indicator. It helps you to shift at the
right time.
At the right time, the rev levels that also help you to be economically in your fuel consumption.
How many gears does it have?
It has 5 gears.
5 gears.
And there's no rear on a motorcycle.
That's
Right,
true.
so this is pretty interesting. How many cc's is this?
It's a 150 cc.
150 cc. Wow. All right. What about the cost? Of course, usually, like you mentioned, 100 to 200,000 is the standard. How much does this go for?
Actually, if you look at the market, it's segmented. You can say there's the lower end, which is the Boda Boda segment. It's up to 100,000 Kenyan shillings, more or less. And then there's up to 400,000 from that, which is what we call the middle segment. That's what we're in, at around 384,000.
384,000 shillings.
Okay, and Michelle had asked earlier on about being tried and tested. How long has it been in the market? Because obviously you said that you did a survey of the terrain, you did a survey of our traffic, you did a survey of maybe even our matatu industry and how people ride to come up with this particular product. How long has it been in the country?
It's been in the country for a year and a half. We've closed the pilot year, and we're doing our commercial launch today, later, at the Amref hangar on Wilson Airport. We've been testing it throughout in very high-tech facilities in Spain, but also here in Kenya, because you need to do the road durability tests, as they're called. It means that we take them out every day, we fit them with some technology that measures how the bike is keeping up, and we go into the toughest conditions and really give it a beating.
All
Okay.
right.
It also looks like it's fairly heavy as a bike. How safe is that in the event where somebody slips and falls?
Most events, when you fall with a bike, the bike will slide away from you. So, okay, so not if you crash into something, that's a different story. So I think the weight is not that important in that sense. There are bikes that are much bigger than this one and much heavier than this one. So it's not really an issue.
All right. And even more importantly is where to park this bike, because it's a very beautiful bike. So let's talk safety features, because it can disappear any moment you leave it.
Sure.
What does it have?
It can have a tracking device, if that is something that makes sense, either for your business or for your personal use. We can install third company technology that comes from Kenya and is also monitored by Kenyan companies to keep track of your product.
All right.
Of course, you can buy any type of lock, and yeah, it looks very
Sling it
nice.
in
So
there.
keep it indoors.
That might be a safe way to keep it. Now, you did mention that you're also looking at training riders and giving them some safety measures and defensive riding, I guess.
Yes.
What are some of the safety tips that you can give riders? Because one, like we mentioned, a bigger percentage of accidents may be caused by just the rider.
Human error.
Yeah, sure. It starts with awareness. When I come to Kenya, especially in the beginning, now I don't see it anymore, but when I compare, let's say, Netherlands to Kenya and the road use, what we call safe is something else in the Netherlands than what we call safe here in Kenya. So it starts with that awareness. What am I doing and why is that actually unsafe? So that's something that we focus on. Now, once we have that awareness, it comes down to skills. We have kibos that are fitted as skid bikes, and we can provide the trainings that we do in controlled areas, so safe. And we set up all kinds of tricks and challenges that'll help you to learn how to brake properly.
Right, right.
A very key thing for braking on a motorcycle is that 70% of your stopping power, it comes from your front brake. Whereas if you look at Kenyan motorcycle users, most of them, they don't even use the front brake. So it means that actually they're depending on only 30% of their stopping capacity, which is a big cause of
But
all
isn't
the
using the
accidents.
front brake somewhat dangerous if you overuse the brake and you stand the chance of, falling over?
Probably depending on the
Exactly.
speed,
So this
perhaps.
is why you need to be trained in how to do it properly. If you do it properly, or even if you do it lightly, it will contribute a lot to the stopping power and to the safety.
All right,
So this is something that we train on.
So is that training free, or do they have to pay for it?
It's optional, and they have to pay for it.
So
We don't-
384,000, do you get free training when you get the bike?
It depends. I mean, we can always talk about anything, right? We're entrepreneurs.
Yeah, it can always be discussed.
Sure.
So do you have a range of bikes? Because you'll find that 380,000 might be a bit pricey for somebody, or somebody might even want to spend a bit more for a more luxurious bike. So is there a price range?
At this point, this is our first product, so no, there's no price range. But let me say one thing I think is nice to mention, something about the vision behind Kibo. When we talk about Kibo, we say that we help our customers to go do what they need to do. So whether that's your business, or whether that's having fun, or whether that's your daily commute, that's what we do. So in that sense, we want to provide that type of mobility to as many people as possible, and in the future, a lower cost model will be part of the product line.
All right.
We're adding a 250cc one, which is priced above this within a year from now. The lower cost one will be the model that comes after that.
All right. So in which countries has this been rolled out?
We're rolling this out in Kenya. This is a Kenya-made product, and this is our first market.
All right. That's great. So
We wish you all the best, and I guess because of time, we'll have to wind up the interview right there. So I don't know, does it have any fuel in it?
That's a good
What,
question.
you want to
I-
ride out of studio?
Well, I want to ride out of studio, and Michelle, you'll be my first subject to sit on. This looks like a longer seat. I don't know whether it is the legal requirement to have more than 2 people on a bike.
Yeah, in fact, the Kenyan riders will probably have 5 people up on
Probably
this.
have
It's
5 on
really
this.
big. So where does one purchase this?
So if I can have the
For
helmet.
whatever you want to go do. I mean,
Just bring it in.
it's a utility product that can help you.
Right, so
with
the launch
whatever.
is this afternoon. If
Just
one
bring
wants
it
to
in.
purchase or buy one of the bikes, where do they get it?
They go on to kibo.bike, which is our website, and they can find us through there.
All right. So get it on the website.
So
Thank you so much
having
for
said
joining us,
that,
Hybe.
Oh, I can't
let's
even
have
open
Mike.
this. This looks like a very safe helmet.
Safety
which I cannot
features,
even
very
open.
important.
How do you open that?
We can't.
Oh,
We
there
can.
you go.
There you
Okay.
go. And that looks very safe. Put it on Mike, on my hair.
All right, so this is how we're going to wind up the show, Michelle.
No, thank
You want to
you.
come on and...
We
Go
can look
for it.
like Bonnie and Clyde on the side. Thank you so much for watching us on Morning Express. And this brings us to a close on the show. We've been speaking to the CEO of Kibo Africa Limited, a company that has unveiled a motorbike seemingly that would reduce the amount of accidents in the country. So do stay tuned for more on our social media pages at KTN News. But for now, we've come to a close on the show. My name is Michelle Ngele.
My name is Michael Gitonga, and apparently EACC detectives have raided the home of a top National Lands Commission chairman, Muhammad Sozuri. The detective also raided the homes of other NCL officials over the graft claims relating to the standard gauge railway payments to landowners. Last month, Sozuri was put to task by the National Assembly Lands Committee over the SGR payments. We shall bring you more details in our subsequent bulletins. For now, we wish you all a fantastic day. I will ride out of the studio. Will you be my guest?
I will be your guest, Mike. Get on.